Welcome to the Browns Table. I'm your host, Craig Fountain, and we have some draft talk tonight live. The Browns Table is a live roundtable discussion for Browns fans. Anybody can join. Check the comments. There's a link. You can join via audio or video. We're going to get right into it. It is my pleasure to introduce your co-host, Fatty. How's it going, that fat guy?
What's going on, bud?
Hey, I remembered not to mute myself.
That a time. Boy, you did a great job.
it's the only job, really.
Well, yeah, but for all those that you are watching, I apologize for going 3 weeks out because I'm going on vacation next week, and I lost track of time. So my bad.
It's just a week. Who needs a week?
I know, but it was one of those ones. I'm like. I'm sitting there freaking out back. You guys don't understand. I'm like, Craig, I'm not going to be on this week. He goes, okay. And then I'm like, I'm starting to add math. And I'm like, hold on. When did we do our last show? And it dawned on me like, oh, crap, I am going to be there. So, Hey, I'm here.
Fatty's turning 40. So congratulations. It's
rough.
Happy birthday. And your wife hasn't kicked you out. So you do have another anniversary, at least one more so far.
You know what's really funny is our anniversary is the day before my birthday.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it's perfect. Just roll it all into one.
It's going to go really good or really bad.
Hey, and I'm going to be in beautiful Virginia at a lake house reenacting Grown Ups, the movie.
Perfect.
So I got two of my best friends I haven't seen in forever. They're bringing their kids. My wife and my kids are going down there. And it's pretty much going to be grown-ups all over again. So I can't wait to see them. I haven't seen them in, let's see here, one of my friends moved to Georgia, one to North Carolina. And I have not got them both together since my kids were 2. So it's been a few years. So I can't wait to see everybody.
All right. Well, if you do anything really stupid, make sure to get it on video.
Of course.
In the meantime, we're going to bring on the co-host of the Illegal Ham to the Face podcast, your co-host, Fatty, Big Brian, what's happening? Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, I appreciate you having me on. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. What's everybody drinking?
I got a little bit of Fireball.
All right.
I've very
got the
little
old
bit.
Lattes, keeping it classy over here.
Nice.
Push lattes. Brian, what do you got?
And I'm getting in the summer mood with some Sam Adams Summer Ale.
Oh, nice.
Outstanding.
So going down smooth tonight.
All right, so the draft is rapidly approaching, and it's in Cleveland. I think it would be a little more. Man, this could have happened when we had like a top pick. Of course, that happens when we're picking 26. Brad, thanks for joining us, Brad. Fireball.
Brad, this is for you.
This one's for you, Brad. Oh man, do you have more of that? Did you get the 10-pack?
No, these are the 100 milliliters, and that was a lot right there. Woo!
What?
All right,
there it is. And so we have the draft coming up in Cleveland. Really, all is quiet on the Browns front for the most part, minus one big elephant in the room, and that is Clowney was supposed to be in town yesterday. Turns out he's going to be in town tomorrow. Reportedly, nothing is imminent. Okay, but you can kind of read the writing on the wall. It's a second visit. There's mutual interest. What reason would he be coming back into town if he wasn't going to sign? Is the Clowney to Cleveland hype real? What do you guys think? Are we getting a big announcement tomorrow?
Well, Brian and I talked about this here a little earlier. And with him coming back, I think it's a physical. They're making sure that he's completely 100% healthy. And if he is, I think they're going to sign him. But it's all the fact of if he's healthy. Because who comes back for a second visit? And I air quote, second visit.
Right.
Normally when you're coming back for a second visit, you already met everybody you want to meet. You're coming back to sign something. Or to check out, make sure everything's okay.
Now, does that imply that during his first visit he wasn't entirely healthy? Is there unanswered questions?
when has he ever been healthy?
Fair enough. Fair enough. And we'll get
Touche.
into that in a second. And this is just the second time this year. I mean, we've met with him in the past. He has a relationship at this point, I'm sure, with our front office. This isn't the first time we've courted him.
Yes.
And, Brian, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't know why he would come back for a second visit if he's not going to sign. But I say that also knowing that I seem to remember reports 3-4 times, a couple last year even, that we were close to signing him. So something's not right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if, like you said, it's a health issue. I don't know if he's pushing for a longer contract rather than just a 1-year deal. It scares me a little bit that we're not really hearing about any other teams that are interested in him. I don't know if we're bidding against ourselves at this point, or if he's made the decision he wants to come to Cleveland and we just have to iron some things out. But I don't know. I think he'd be a good addition, but I don't know if he's worth a whole lot of trouble for it.
It's certainly a discussion to have. We, with our cap space, reportedly, after we sign our draft picks, we have approximately $6 million, $7 million to spend. If I'm missing something, guys, correct me in the comments. We can see your comments live wherever you're watching, and we'll address you.
Yeah, but what they're talking about doing is doing either a 1-year or a 2-year deal. But the second year, it's basically a show it deal, like they did with Tack McKinley.
Sure. But at the same time, maybe they were buying time to restructure somebody. Maybe they had to, free up some money. Who knows? Are we going to get an announcement?
And like I said, this visit could be him coming here and going, all right, well, let's do it. We got to free up the money. So you guys figure out how you're going to do that, but let's do it. And that might be the case. But, I get kind of concerned when he's supposed to be here from reports Monday. And then there was, and I quote, travel issues. And then he's not coming in till tonight. I mean, he should be here now, I believe. And then doing, Wednesday. So it's kind of, who knows? I mean, I told Brian today, I'm kind of like, or if he signs, awesome. If he doesn't, I'm okay with it.
Now, Brad, if you're still watching, I'd be curious to get your input on where I'm going to go with this, because we're all avid consumers of all things Cleveland media. We're trying to participate in that space and offer a place for fans to talk in a roundtable discussion. You can join the show using the link in the comments. But what I'm getting at is we consume all this media, and one of my favorite programs is In-House with the Cleveland Browns, and that's Cleveland Browns Daily with Nathan Zagura and family. But they had, hey, Lila. That's the other ginger in the house. Anyways, they brought something to my attention that I started looking into more, and I think they're onto something. I don't even think Clowney's the right guy. And looking into it, I posed to you guys a question. Is Justin Houston a better free agency target than Clowney? I'd be curious to see what Brad has to think. I know Brad's our kind of resident nuts and bolts guy that we like to get a lot of the schematic insights or, some of the scheme insights, things like that when it comes to these players and their fits, but the nuts and bolts stuff. But, looking back statistically, at Justin Houston's last 4 seasons, even though he's a little bit older than Clowney, he's had better seasons the last 4 years than Clowney has ever had in his career. And, he's played on some great defenses. Do you guys have any input on this?
Yeah, I would take Justin Houston kind of the same way that I would take Jadeveon Clowney. Like you said, Houston's had a more prolific career. He's maybe a little more long in the tooth than Clowney is, but I view those guys as about the same. My hope with Clowney and my optimism with Clowney is, yeah, he's played with J.J. Watt, but I don't know if he was used correctly down in Houston. They kind of moved him around a little bit, moved him to outside linebacker. I'd be more interested to see him as a defensive end and a guy opposite Myles Garrett who's not going to see a whole lot of double teams. I'd be interested to see what he can do with that role. He kind of struggled in Tennessee last year. I'm not really sure why. He didn't have any sacks. He dealt with injuries, and so the whole experience down there was kind of a bust. But yeah, I'm just hoping that we can rekindle the flames that he had at South Carolina and that made him the number 1 overall pick, that freakish athleticism that he has.
So one of the things, and I believe Brad's going to join us. Let me get to Brad here. Hopefully he's ready. Hey, Brad, how's it going?
Hey, guys.
What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody, Brad is with the All Eyes on Cleveland podcast. Make sure you check him out. He's also with Browns Wire USA Today. And Brad, I want to talk to you about this Justin Houston versus Jadeveon Clowney conversation. And maybe Justin isn't on our radar for a specific reason, and maybe you can enlighten me on that. However, let me start with this. Let's look at Clowney's ceiling. Okay, what is the most we can expect out of Clowney? Okay, and first we have to look at his best season, which is, he came into the league in 2014, and he's played 16 games one time, and that just so happened to be his best season. He was 24 years old. This was in 2017. He recorded 9.5 sacks. That's a ceiling when it comes to getting to the quarterback. He had 21 QB hits. That's also a ceiling. And that's, again, his only season he's played in full 16 games. Now, if you look at a guy like Justin Houston, age aside, he's had a little bit of a longer career, played in Indy the last 2 years. His last 4 seasons, 9.5 sacks, 9 sacks, 11 sacks, 8 sacks. I mean, I feel like the consistency that a guy like Justin Houston has is equivalent to Clowney's ceiling, which is the most we could probably expect out of him. And it's not like pairing him with Myles Garrett is going to produce better results probably than pairing him with J.J. Watt, especially 3, 4, 5 years ago. Brad, am I crazy here? Is Houston not a schematic fit with us? What's going on here? I see a night and day type deal here.
Yeah, I don't know. Justin Houston is hard to comment on. I think they're both a fit. I actually think the Browns think that Clowney is a perfect fit. You can't really look at his sack numbers, right? Like, his pressure numbers are still excellent. He was like the 4th best run defender in the league last year. So like he's a premier, superior run defender. He's a disruption guy, not so much a production guy, right? Like, so you don't see the production, but the disruption is there always. Like, he is a guy that will F the play up all the time, right? Like, he's in the backfield, he's making tackles. His percentage of tackles on run plays are always close to the line of scrimmage. I think putting him opposite Myles Garrett and having those two huge, freakish human beings on both ends of the line of scrimmage, whether he's getting to the quarterback or not, or creating other lanes for other guys to get to the quarterback, I think he's a fit, and I think the Browns really like it. I kind of expect him to, I don't know if he's been a perfect fit. I think he fit really well in Seattle, and I think he played really well that year. Last year, not so much, but once again, not in camp until a week before. I think the Browns were playing this smart. You sign him ahead of time. You make sure he's in camp the full time. I think that guards against some of the injury issues. There's got to be a correlation between not being in camp and being dinged all the time, right? I mean, that's only common sense. This guy doesn't want to be in camp. The Browns are going to have him in camp. I think that's huge. I think he is a scheme fit because the guy that you have to have in the 4-3 opposite Myles Garrett needs to be a specimen. He's going to get one-on-ones all day long. So you need somebody that's going to be in the backfield. Justin Houston seems like a fit as well. I just think that they think that Clowney is a better football player all around. And I would agree with that. I think not so much sack for sack numbers are a little, I think, they can skew you in the wrong direction if you just go by the stats all the time. I think if you look more at like, him playing the run, him disrupting plays, him getting pressures, I think he's a better player. And he's more athletic and he's younger. And I think that. Now, I've been hearing, you were talking about contract structure a little. I think we're going to get something very similar to like Troy Hill, whether it's a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal. They're going to put some void years on it, move that signing bonus up and then, spread it out, prorate it over like 4 or 3 years so that there's a minimal cap hit this year. I think at this point, if we would have seen them restructure Sheldon or Landry or any of those guys, if already would have happened, I think the Browns would like to stay flexible as far as that goes. Like, I don't think they want to commit other years to those guys yet. I think they'd like to be flexible going into next season. So I think they'll do what they did with Troy Hill, add some void years onto his deal, give him a big signing bonus, and prorate that out so that it's a minimal cap hit during this cap crunch off season. Whether it's 2 years or 1 year, I'm actually hearing from like Lane Johnson over at the OBR, has reported a couple times today, and just talking to him on Twitter here a little bit, and what guys are saying, that they actually think it might be like a 2-year deal, guaranteed money, like spread over 3 years, like with an out after like 2 years, is kind of what I've heard. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 1-year deal though, but I was surprised to hear that, and I trust Lane. He usually has good information. Go ahead.
So Brad, I gotta ask: is it because Clowney sets the edge better? I mean,
he certainly does. Yeah, no question.
Is that why? Because you're going to get the power and the speed rush from Myles Garrett, and you need that guy on the other side to set the edge. And it seems like that's what he's done. But the thing that I'm disappointed in is he was a first-round pick, also a physical specimen when he came out. But does he have the drive to do it? That's the thing.
I don't know.
That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah, I think that's got to be a lot of what this first meeting was about, right? Like, okay, so we offered him more money than anybody last year. He didn't come to Cleveland, right? So right there, my red flags kind of go up about him. Does he really want to be here, right? And, I don't want anybody here that doesn't want to be here. I don't know about you guys, but that's how
I don't want anybody that doesn't want to be here.
But he's going to be joining a locker room, if he signs with us, that is, there's an abundance of accountability, which is something that not all NFL teams have, and something maybe he hasn't dealt with yet. And he knows if he's going to come here, he's going to have guys like Jarvis. He's going to have guys like Miles. We have a locker room full of guys that are going to hold each other accountable. And something you said earlier, Brad, was this guy doesn't necessarily want to be in camp, and maybe that speaks to some of his injury issues. So it sounds to me like it's not money, it's buy-in. That could be... I mean, that's a flag in itself.
Yeah, I agree. There's certainly red flags with this, and I know people got, like, I heard a lot of Browns fans on the radio today saying they're getting really frustrated with the back and forth and stuff. Well, you can't really get frustrated with it. That's kind of like part of it, right? Like, what do we have to get frustrated for? We're not the ones doing the work, right? I mean,
right.
But yeah, so I only have another minute here, but I did want to, comment on this stuff, but I think he's a good fit. And I heard somebody say once, with him, I think if he lands in the right spot again and he's in the right headspace and they, he could have another like 7-8 sack season and be really productive for somebody again. It's just that like maybe it wasn't right. And like they had no pass rush at all in Tennessee last year. I mean, they would have signed anybody if they could get a sack. They just couldn't put any pressure on the quarterback. And, Vic Beasley was the other guy. They signed $22 million between Clowney and Beasley, and neither one got a sack, right before the season. So, I mean, that's crazy. So, obviously, that's not a right fit, right? I do think, though, it is a good fit with the Browns. Plus, you have Tack McKinley there. You can move Clowney to the inside. He's big enough to, I mean, they have so much flexibility with Malik Jackson, Sheldon, Now, you don't know what you're going to get out of the kid from Boise State, Curtis Weaver, who is supposedly, bulked up and looks good. These are all guys that they can put up there and move around, give them different fronts, show them that NASCAR front. You imagine Clowney, Malik Jackson, and, And,
we got Billings coming back.
Yeah,
Richardson's
Billings
played end
up
before.
there, and I mean they can move
Elliott.
these guys around all over the place. Elliott, and keep guys fresh all day long. And I think that's kind of what they're thinking here is combined with Malik Jackson and Tack McKinley. If you bring in Clowney, you can go into the draft and feel really good about your pass rush opposite Myles Garrett. Even if you're not counting on him for sacks, he's going to F the play up. He's going to disrupt plays. He's going to get in the backfield and make tackles. That's just what the kind of player he is. And I think at this point in his career, I do think he's better than Justin Houston.
All right.
Yeah, I wonder if one last thing, if the Browns almost view Tack McKinley as their pass rushing specialist, and they're looking for a defensive end that can stop the run. And certainly Clowney has proven the last few years that he can do that. And we still play in the AFC North. We still play in a black and blue division. The Ravens still have a phenomenal rushing attack. The Steelers, even though they sucked last year, they still want to run the ball. So we're going to need 4 guys up front that can slow down the run, because we're only playing most of the time a 2 linebacker set. So we don't have a bunch of guys behind our front 4 that can stop the run. So we need that front line to be our main line of defense against the run. And so maybe they're viewing Jadeveon Clowney in that kind of role.
And you've seen him stand up on the edge before. Can you imagine? So like the Browns a couple times last year in certain matchups, they would go 5 at the line of scrimmage, and really put the pressure on with that look. So you stand Clowney up on the end. You got Garrett on the other end, and put Tack McKinley right next to him, or whatever, and vice versa on 3rd and longs, and just really go after the quarterback. I mean, we saw the Super Bowl. That's what it's all about, right? I don't think you can have enough athletic guys that can get in the backfield and mess stuff up for guys. And you think about playing against a Lamar Jackson and a Mahomes and an Allen in the AFC. I think Clowney gives you a lot of value there, where you're not just straight rushing the passer, but running down a pass rusher or just disrupting a play against those guys that can get out of the pocket. It's not so much just beat a guy around the edge so much. So I think that he provides a lot of value there as well. I got to go, guys. I'm going to get yelled at, but thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate you joining, Brad.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Love you, Brad. Thank you.
Again, that was Brad Ward, USA Today Browns Wire, and the All Eyes on Cleveland podcast. Great guy. Fatty's hearing birds.
I'm hearing birds. It might have
you
been
have
Brad.
birds? I don't have birds.
No, I got nothing.
It's gone now. I think it was Brad. I kept hearing birds chirping in the background. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why am I hearing birds? And I Craig, and look what happens.
Look what happens. All right, so the Clowney news is kind of like the appetizer for what we have tonight. And really, it's not news yet, but the talk is real. I think we're all kind of consensus. Something is likely imminent, even though it's not 100% yet. But
no,
yeah.
I mean, if they do get Clowney, and you're putting up what's the biggest position of need. If they do get Clowney, does that completely change their draft strategy?
No, I don't think so, because and we'll get into this, but while edge is probably our primary position of need, if you ask me, I don't know that I think that's where they're going in the draft. And I'll be curious to get your guys' opinion on that as well. But I do think edge, as of right now, is our biggest position of need. I still don't think that with our draft position that's where we're going to go, unless something crazy happens and somebody unbelievable falls to us.
Why don't we ask Big Bry for his mock draft that he put on illegal hands of face? Big Bry, what did you have the Browns taking at 26?
Well, let me say that it for me, it depends a little bit on Clowney. Right now he's not on the team. He's not signed. So right now, without him, I think Craig is right. I think our biggest need is edge. And to me, it's not even that close, because I don't want to count on Tack McKinley to be the other starting defensive end down in and down out for 3 downs. We got Myles Garrett. We're good there. We need somebody else. If we can have a platoon of guys filling in there, that's fine. But yeah, it's kind of like last year where everyone knew left tackle was our biggest need. I think right now, as we stand, our biggest need is edge rusher opposite Myles Garrett. And so if we sign Clowney, I think that opens us up to a bunch of different options. I think we're still looking defense, but we can draft the best available player then at that point. I still would be a little upset if they took a safety because I think we're pretty good at safety, but
Yeah.
defensive line still getting some depth there because we have a lot of guys, even if we do sign Clowney, we have a lot of guys on 1-year deals. And so we don't have that long-term answer unless Jordan Elliott turns into a superstar or something and we have him for a couple more years. But defensive line, still, I would like to see them go. I have them taking Christian Barmore. I would love Christian Barmore. He's the best defensive tackle in the draft, it sounds like. And so people seem to vary on how they evaluate him, but he came along at the end of the year. The second half of the year, he was a lot more productive than the first half, and we saw him dominate the college football playoff against Notre Dame and Ohio State, and he kind of had a coming out party. And so I like guys that play the biggest when the lights are shining the brightest. So I would take him. I would like him, but there's a tier of 3 defensive ends and a tier of 3 cornerbacks that if they fall to us, I think we have to consider them.
So, Fatty, I want to get your opinion too, but he kind of touched on a couple of our, things we wanted to hit on, and that was, we're kind of in agreement. Edge is the biggest position of need.
Yes.
We talked about that.
You're doing 1-year flyers with Clowney and McKinley. So, yeah, you're going to need another guy on there.
And then, one of the questions we wanted to ask was, do we draft for need or best player available? And it's kind of both in a way, right? Like, probably best player available on defense unless it's a safety, right? I mean.
But you got to realize this front office is different. So much different that they will get. When was John Johnson on our radar? I didn't expect him to sign a safety. Did you, Bri?
Well, I didn't expect it, but I was also maybe a little naive to how committed they were to this 4-2-5 set, where you do play 3 safeties in that set. And so even if we do have Grant Delpit and Harrison, you still need a third safety there. And so once I found out about the signing and I looked into it a little more, it made a ton of sense. But you're right. I wasn't thinking about it. But, I don't know. I'd be pretty surprised if we signed a safety because we have 3 young safeties already that we're counting on.
Well, I'm not saying that they're going to sign a safety, but I'm just saying, like, you watch what they've done free agency wise. They actually worked on the defense, not offense. Okay.
Right.
And for once, we're not picking in the top, 10. We're at 26. At 26, are you expected to get a starter?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So you're expected to get a starter. No matter what happens. Why not get the one that's there? Whether it be an offense or defense. Because at that point in time, I think at 26, yes, I think they'll go defense. But if an offensive guy drops to them that they think they're really high on, and I mean really high on, they're going to take him because I'm telling you, this front office is different now because they're doing things that we're not even expecting. And if they get that pick at 26 that they want, that the person they want, I think they're going to take him.
So Ray Shell here, I think that's how we say it. I don't think they'll sign a safety. I think we're all kind of on the same page that we're set at safety.
I think it's either going to be cornerback or defensive end. but I also wouldn't be surprised if they got a wide receiver or somebody of that nature.
I don't understand the wide receiver take because and you're not the only one saying it. There's a ton of people that are saying it. I think PFF had wide receiver as our greatest need in this draft, and I don't understand that at all. We run an offense where there's only 2 wide receivers on the field at a time because we like to split out our tight ends and our running backs, especially Kareem Hunt. And so we have 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers. We have another veteran that we've brought back 2 straight years in a row. And we have a youngster who's a freak athlete in Donovan Peoples-Jones. So by my accounts, there's 4 wide receivers that we're looking to get playing time for.
All right. So first off, that's the Michigan love right there. Second off, we still don't know what we got with Odell because Odell hasn't been 100% healthy since he's been here. So we have 1 wide receiver, Hollywood Higgins, and Peoples-Jones Jr. Why not take a flyer on a wide receiver? Let him groom behind those guys and learn from those guys who are you're deeming the best people ever, and let him learn from that way.
Mixed bag in the comments here.
Go ahead.
We have a mixed bag in the comments. We have we have some people saying, we have all eyes on Cleveland here saying, we need to look to the future at wide receiver. There's a really good chance that Odell's not here past this year. Okay. Or Jarvis, who knows what they're going to decide to do? Who knows what the season will bring?
I mean, you got, what is it? $30 million tied up in 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, and ideally, I think if you ask 10 Browns fans, any 10, 9 would prefer Landry to Odell, right?
Yes.
It just seems
he's more available.
Yeah, he's more available. Exactly, bro.
So Rachel also said linebacker would be nice for sure, and Ross said hopefully we can find a linebacker to fix the middle of the defense. If I can find the comment here. Okay, so here's an observation. Most of the national media, I think, seems really keyed in on the fact that we're going to take a linebacker in the first round, and I don't think that's the case. I think that they're pretty satisfied for the most part with the linebacking core. I don't think it's as important to us as it is to everybody else because we don't have name recognition. I think they're planning on using safeties. They're planning on, they have other plans, and I think they're satisfied with what we have. Why does everybody want a linebacker or mocking us with a linebacker in the first round when cornerback and edge are probably our biggest needs?
Did you not watch like
what's that?
Did you not watch last year? Hold on. I'm being serious.
Yes.
We've had so many injuries at linebacker. We don't have tell me our stud linebacker. Tell me our 1 stud linebacker. Do we have one?
So no. But
okay. So hold on. At that point in time, why would you not just get 1 stud linebacker to be the defensive stopper for your linebacking core that you can actually trust? Do you trust Mack Wilson? Do you trust Walker? Do you trust is it Phillips, Bry?
Yeah, Jacob Phillips. Yeah, I don't think
these guys are improving.
Taki. That.
Go ahead, Bry.
Yeah. Well, I think again the national media just really doesn't understand what the organization is looking for. We talked earlier. They run a 4-2-5, so we got 2 linebackers. We signed a veteran in Walker, and we have these young guys that we still really don't know what we have with them. Jacob Phillips could be a star. We don't know. Taki could be a very solid player. Mack Wilson could have just been suffering a lot from his preseason injury. Maybe he bounces back, and maybe he's the guy we thought he was going to be. So I think we still don't know with our linebackers. Plus, you're most of the time only going to have 2 on the field at a time. So, and I don't know if there will be a stud linebacker for us to pick there at 26, unless Micah Parsons falls to us, or some of these other guys. Ojulari is kind of more of a 3-4 outside linebacker.
To me, I think personally that if Parsons falls to us, that's the only way we take a linebacker in the first round. That guy
Agree.
has Ray
Yeah,
Lewis potential,
absolutely.
assuming he can stay on the field.
Well, what about Notre Dame's linebacker? The reason why I ask is he's a pass coverage linebacker, and that's what we're wanting our linebackers to do, right?
Here's the other thing, and I'm not trying to change the subject here, but I want to go back to what you were just saying. When you look at last year and how bad we needed a linebacker, we were crippled in our secondary, and in particular in the safety spot. We lacked talent, and we lacked healthy players. I think that when you bring in a guy like John Johnson and you get some support at the cornerback position opposite of Denzel Ward, it frees up guys like John Johnson and Grant Delpit, and we're gonna have some guys that can move around, and also if we can get a guy like Clowney can move back a little bit. If he needs to cover somebody, he's done it. If he can get on the field, I think that Bry's got a good point. If we can get solid production out of 3 or 4 linebackers when we plan on having 2 on the field most of the time, and being heavy at safety, I think that we really need to focus on getting Denzel Ward and some Troy Hill some help back there. Really, I don't know, but Parsons to me is it could be a generational talent.
Okay,
right. He's a freak athlete. If he falls to you, I don't think you can pass him up. But let's not forget John Johnson had over 100 tackles for the Rams last year, so he can kind of be your pseudo third linebacker on most sets, and you feel perfectly comfortable with him. And the Notre Dame linebacker, he's not that much bigger than John Johnson is. I think he's like 220 pounds. So
then why would you need to run a 4.25 if he is that size? You can run a 4.3, a 4.3, and just be done with it.
That's not the 4-3 is just not their base defense. They want their base defense. They're going to run everything off of this 4.25. It sounds like, so they don't want to change it up just because they happen to draft this one player in the first round.
Okay.
David, big play. What's happening? We're not taking a quarterback. Life is good. That we can
That a
boy. That we can agree on.
Yeah.
Appreciate
don't
the retweet.
lose sight of that.
Appreciate the retweet, Dave. Thank you.
And we're not picking in the top 10.
Right.
And the 26th pick that we're picking, we didn't trade down to get it. So that's about
Okay, so we have a little bit of disagreement. Maybe if the right linebacker falls to us, maybe. Okay, but edge and cornerback seems to be where we're going to go there. Now, personally, I agree with Brad. Assuming we sign Clowney, it's pretty much a lock, I think, that if we stay at 26, that it's going to be a cornerback. Bry, Fatty, what is there a cornerback in particular you guys like?
You got Caleb Farley, J.C. Horton, Newsome. I would love to have Newsome from Northwestern. But if the top guys aren't there, what are we doing with 26 then? Should we trade down? Should we trade up? There it is.
There it is. Will the Browns trade up or trade down? It's really hard to tell. Assuming, I could see them moving maybe 2 or 3 spots up or 2 or 3 spots down, depending on if there's a guy they really think that will fall to them, or if there's a guy that they really, really like. Maybe Parsons a couple picks ahead. If they feel like he's going to get out from under us, if they decide to go that route, I think there's potential for a trade there. There's also suggestions that... Did you guys see these suggestions in the media today that maybe we try to package something for Gilmore? Could that have an effect on our first round?
That's still there. It depends on what New England does.
Absolutely.
Pick.
Big play, Dave. I'm with Brad as well. Not deep enough at corner right now to not take one early. last year was a perfect example, not just in the safety room, but in the cornerback room. You can never have too many cornerbacks. We need Troy Hill. We need Denzel Ward. We need a guy like Newsome, I think, to go along with Greedy. Hopefully Greedy's coming back. I think that personally, I would like to see them go cornerback in the first round, regardless of whether we take Clowney.
Well, I hope not, because I have a bet with Always Positive Jay, and I do not want to buy him a t-shirt. All right.
Okay, so what's your bet?
All right, so it's quarterback or the field. And I took the field because not knowing what Clowney was going to do. And I owe Jay a t-shirt. And, this is also Bry's kind of involved in this too a little bit because he's grouped with me. But that was the bet. So hopefully we get a wonderful t-shirt out of it when they draft a defensive tackle, Bry, and not a quarterback. But I'm still going to be biased, and I'm going to be on the offensive edge or defensive tackle or linebacker, not quarterback. So that's where I'm at.
So
go
ahead, Bry.
I'm sorry. As far as cornerbacks, I would be disappointed if they got a cornerback in the first round, to be honest. Unless Kwity Paye, unless Gregory Rousseau, unless Jalen Phillips are gone, that top tier defensive ends, Christian Barmore is gone, and we're just kind of sitting there twiddling our thumbs, just hoping that we can find something there. I would probably prefer to trade down if that was the scenario, but I'm still stuck on the last football game that I watched, and that was the Super Bowl. And Tampa Bay dominated that game. Tampa Bay took control, and they disrupted Pat Mahomes like nobody ever has with a pass rush. Not because they were getting a bunch of cover sacks. It's because they were getting to Pat Mahomes, making him run, 300 yards all over the field. And so I would like them to solidify the pass rush and get it as strong as possible, because I feel I'm naive with Greedy Williams, that thinking that we can get something out of him. But if he's healthy, you got Greedy Williams, you got Ward, and you got Hill. So those are three damn good corners, and maybe you pick up one in the second, third, fourth round. Now you got four. Maybe you sign another veteran for 5. So I don't think it's as bleak at corner as some people might think it is.
Is there any chance at all the Browns go offense in the first round? If you had to put a percent,
I don't think so.
Fatty?
I don't think so either, but I'm still going to leave a 10% chance.
All right, I'm going 0% chance.
Okay, I'll say a 2. Maybe they get infatuated with one of the second tier receivers, because Waddle, Smith, and Chase will all be gone, and those will be the only ones worth it at that point.
I think
nothing gets Stefanski going like a tight end, though.
Oh, that's Freiermuth.
Never know. Never know. But all right, so
let's hope not.
Anything else about this draft that you guys want to talk about before we move on to some questions about past drafts?
The only thing of that I want to add, you got Sean Wade, who's still out there, that we talked to, was it 4th round, late 3rd, 4th round pick? And Brian's putting his head down because it's a high state quarterback, but guess what? We're quarterback you.
Of course.
You're just going to have to deal with it.
I can't talk about Oral Roberts, but you bring up Sean Wade. Go ahead.
If Sean Wade's around in the 4th round, you take a flyer. I don't know, man.
Hey, I'm just busting Brian's chops right now, so it's all right.
Me and Brian are in this cult that you're in.
Oh no, where's French at? Who's the second best quarterback?
Oh God, French knows he can't come into this show. I was talking to him right before the show.
Okay, Bri, who's the second best quarterback in this draft?
Second best in this draft?
Yes.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Fields is, but there's a lot of people smarter than me that say Zach Wilson is.
Okay. I just wanted it on record, on live video,
Oh yeah, no,
Like-
I'm unbiased in that.
So,
I've
Because
seen him do amazing things.
okay, so for those of you that don't know, Fatty and Bry have a podcast, Illegal Him to the Face. I also have another podcast. I cover the entire landscape of the NFL, and that is me and my brother from another mother, literally, French. And French and I have an ongoing spat about who the 49ers will take at 3. I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I think that Fields is going to San Francisco at 3. Also would have went to them at 12. Sorry, Fatty, he would have dropped. French is infatuated with Mac Jones, so there's this thing going on between me and French. There's been Twitter wars, podcast wars, all this stuff, and Fatty's trying to stick a knife in French a little bit over this Fields
I am.
hate.
I am.
But so to give a little bit of context to that. Now, I'm curious what you guys think here. Favorite Browns draft pick since 1999. What do you think, Fatty?
Bryce, can I pick Bryce?
I mean, sure, why not?
Bry? Is it Brady Quinn?
No,
Oh God.
Don't you lie.
it was. Yes, it
was
was.
Brady Quinn.
I was most excited at Brady Quinn. Absolutely. Yep. No doubt.
Okay.
I thought when we took Joe Thomas, I thought, okay, whatever. And I didn't love Brady Quinn, but when he fell that far, and I knew we got Joe Thomas and Brady Quinn, potentially the second best quarterback in that draft at 22. Man, I was all in. He was my saving grace. I didn't get there with any other quarterbacks, not with Whedon, not with Manziel. Even Baker, I was a little hesitant on, but yeah, Brady Quinn, I bought in.
What about you, Fatty? What was your, or let's say, favorite draft pick at the time? Because clearly that didn't shake out.
Right.
Yeah. God, I hate to say this. Trent Richardson.
Yeah, he's up there for me too.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
he was right there, and I was never a Brady Quinn fan. Manziel, I was like, I only did Manziel to upset Bry, but like Trent Richardson, when they drafted him, I'm like, oh my God, we finally got a running back.
Home run.
And I really thought it was, and guess what? Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss.
We got a first round pick from him.
One of the ones that I
Yeah.
got most excited about was a guy I don't even really want to talk about, to tell you the truth, because he turned out to be a terrible human being. But I'm going to have to go with the son of the great Kellen Winslow Sr. And,
Sure.
that was an exciting draft pick at the time. But,
Mhm.
he thought he was a soldier, but it's he was one of my
Right.
favorite ones at the time. I'm on board with Trent Richardson. That was an exciting pick. I never really got too excited over the quarterbacks. I was never a
Yep.
Brady Quinn fan. I was never a Johnny Manziel fan. After we drafted them, I wasn't even kind of excited. I remember watching Brady Quinn walk onto the field when he got in for his first game. I believe it was a Thursday night game versus the Denver Broncos. And I remember you could feel through the TV how excited the Cleveland fan base was. I didn't feel it, but I could sense it, even though I wasn't there. Joe Thomas, Bri, to your point, wasn't a flashy pick. It was a solid pick. It was a necessary pick. But in hindsight, looking back, what do you think was the Browns' best draft pick since '99? In hindsight,
Boy, that's a
That's a tough
I mean,
question.
Joe Thomas is the obvious
Yeah.
answer,
All
but
right.
take him out of the equation, and gosh, I don't even know. I can't think of anyone right now. Give me a minute, Fatty. You got anybody?
I mean, you gotta go Joe Thomas.
Yeah. Other than Joe Thomas,
Yeah.
because he's the
Other-
obvious. He's a Hall of Famer.
The one I really got excited about, and this is what's really sad about the Browns, Alex Mack.
Alex Mack. Yeah,
I mean,
he's a lineman,
the
man.
reason, well, I understand, but
True.
I mean, at the time we needed a center, and we got him. We still couldn't re-sign him, but he did good for us. It just God, how has our draft been so horrible?
You know,
Joe
second to
Hayden,
Joe-
maybe? Is the only
Yeah,
other
Joe
one?
Hayden
that
was
comes to mind?
exciting.
What about Gilbert?
No, get out of here.
I told Brian.
Turn that knife.
No,
Turn
I'm
that
not
knife.
turning the knife. Brian and I talk about this all day at work. All right, and I'm sitting there going, like, I remember calling Brian the night that Justin Gilbert was picked. I'm like, who the hell is Justin Gilbert? And Brian goes, I don't know. And I'm sitting there looking up. I'm like, oh, well, he's a quarterback. And it blew my mind. Unreal.
So I think that, you know, we're talking about all these guys. One of the best guys that we had wasn't even a draft pick. If you ask me, it was Josh Cribbs. I don't know if we can count that. He was undrafted.
Right.
I don't know. Lee's favorite draft pick at the time. I'll lead with this. I agree with Chris. I was not happy about Baker. I was
Really?
not happy about Baker.
Oh, I was
Hated
cheering
it.
for Baker.
Hated it.
Me too.
Brian,
Me too.
I was cheering for Baker.
Yeah,
You know?
I was shaking in my boots because when I saw Baker, I saw Johnny Manziel, and I was like, here we go again.
That's, you
Mine-
know, I was scared.
Barkevius
Yeah.
Bingo. Who the heck is that?
I don't know, but he's still got a
Fun to
job.
say.
Does he still have a job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. There's no
Special
way
teams
that guy still has a
extraordinaire.
job. Oh
Yeah,
my!
he went to Seattle. He's been in Chicago. I mean,
What did we draft him? What, 4 or 5?
Indy. 6.
6. We
Yeah.
drafted him 6.
It was
Thank God he's a special team extraordinaire.
It was a terrible draft, though, if you remember. Like, there are very few good players that came out of that first round. Eric
Well-
Fisher went number 1.
Yeah, but we still had Barkevius Bingo.
I know. I wanted D. Milner, and he was a
Oh,
total
man.
flop, too.
it's funny
Remember
you brought
him?
him up because I stumbled on him today, and I was perusing the Pro Football Reference site or whatever, and I clicked on his name. I was like, whatever happened to that guy? Because people were mocking him to go to us, and he was going to be the next great cornerback. He played like 21 games in 3 seasons and was done. Out. You know,
the Jets happened to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Jets happened to him.
The Jets happened to a lot of people like Sam Darnold.
Yeah, right.
But you know, we certainly have more to choose from when it comes to like our least favorite draft picks than our favorite draft picks.
Yeah.
But you know, we've had some guys that were kind of hometown favorites that I rooted for. You know, guys like Brian Rubisky. You know, it was kind of disappointing to see how that shaked out. I believe that was the Mohamed Massaquoi draft.
Yes, it was.
You know, we've had other guys that we really thought we might have gotten a steal in the draft in you know, later rounds. Guys like Bo Bell. I mean, that guy was supposed to be a beast. Supposed to be a steal. You know, where did he go? Vegas or something? I mean, he was the hype of the offseason that year. We stole this guy in the 4th round. You know, guys like Mingo for sure. Courtney Brown, Gerard Warren.
I remember how hyped.
You know?
Right. I remember how hyped that was for Braylon Edwards. And then they backed that up with Charlie Fry in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And I thought, we're set. We're good. Akron's own.
The one I got super excited about, Montario Hardesty.
Oh, you know what? The only thing I could think about.
I mean, Brian, are you serious? Like, we watched him at
Oh,
Tennessee.
I loved him. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tennessee.
I'm like, holy crap, what did we get him in the 2nd round?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow, we got a running back. Guess what? Like a dust in the wind gone.
The only thing I can think about when I hear his name, which, you know, it isn't very often anymore, but do you remember the Seattle game? I think it might have been like Cam Chancellor or somebody picked him up off the ground in open field and like body slammed him into the turf. Do you remember this hit?
Yes.
I'm going to have to, maybe
I'm
I'll
pretty
have to
sure it's the last hit
I
he
don't.
took.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He couldn't get back up.
You
He
mentioned
didn't have
Montario
the-
Hardesty.
He didn't have the Willis McGahee spirit. I mean, that guy's been on a stretcher more times than probably anybody. You know, he didn't just get hurt. He went to the hospital every time it happened. But, all right. So we're getting to the end of our broadcast. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Anything you guys want to bring to the table?
Not really. I just want to wish, I'm going on vacation next week. I want to wish everybody we'll be back in 2 weeks right before the draft. All right. We'll catch up on the what's happened and everything. But I just want to wish everybody a good time here in Cleveland because guess what? The draft is here. Downtown looks amazing. And I cannot wait to see what they do, for camera angles and everything else. I mean, the lakefront, what they're doing downtown is going to look amazing, and I can't wait to see it. So that's just me.
Awesome. Big Bri, appreciate you joining the show. Make sure you check out Big Bri and I Am That Fat Guy's podcast, Illegal Ham to the Face. Cleveland Sports and Food. What are you pointing at? Oh, your flag. Best cover art of all time.
Let me there it is. Look at it.
It really is the best cover art of all time.
We also forgot to thank Mike's Bar Grill the last time we were together.
We had a blast.
Oh man, it was such good food. And if you get a chance to go there, it's in Berea. All right, Mike's Bar Grill. They have the buffalo chicken egg rolls. They have the burgers are phenomenal. We had such a blast there. Rachel was our waitress, and she stuck around for the Browns table afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for everything. Craig
we had Kevin on the show.
We had Kevin Arnold. We had Always Positive Jay on the show. Brian was there. My cousin Vinny was there to help us up with the production afterwards. I mean, we had a ball. We really did. So thank you guys for joining us 2 weeks ago.
If you guys want us to do a live show in your area, maybe give us a suggestion in the comments where we could do a live show. Pretty much any place, preferably a bar where we can set up our microphones and we can go live from. We would love to come out and meet everybody. It was fun having a live audience, though. We got to work on keeping eye contact with the camera when everybody's like, right there. But
we figured that out. Figured that out. All right. So we figured we're not going to look at Kevin all the time. We figured that out.
Right. Absolutely. I need blinders,
It's hard. It's hard to look, you got to look at the person you're talking to. And that's what we did with the live show because of the way it was set up. But we figured it out, and I think we got it.
Absolutely. I had the bacon cheeseburger. I thought it was phenomenal. Kevin's tater tots looked phenomenal, and
then he had a chicken parm sandwich on garlic bread.
Oh man!
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
I got half of it.
I had their March special, which was a burger with fried bologna and an egg on it.
Oh man!
We had tater tots. We had chicken wings. We had pierogies. We had what was the other appetizer we had, Bri? I'm missing an appetizer. What was the other one we had?
Chicken quesadilla, did you say?
Chicken quesadilla. There's chicken quesadilla. It was, we put smoker. Oh, God, this food was so good. It was good.
If you want to meet up with us live, let us know in the comments or send us a message. We're open to suggestions. Maybe we can check out your local bar or something like that. The only rule is you have to do some picklebacks with us. We love that Jameson and pickle juice. Drink some drinks with us, eat some food, hang out, come on the Browns Table. You can find us on Twitter at the Browns Table. You can find us on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, Instagram, all at the Browns Table. Okay. Make sure you stay tuned. We are in the off season going live every other Tuesday, essentially. And, if something major happens, maybe we'll jump on spontaneously from time to time, but anything else you guys want to talk about? Perfect. Until next time, go Browns. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
All right, go Browns.
Go Browns.